Hello, we're Denise and Reed, and today this video is going to be about
12 things we wish we knew before we started van life.
Takeaway, what's number one?
I just wanted to start this saying that we want to make this video because when we were getting started on our van build, we watched a bunch of these kind of videos. And I really wanted to make a video to also share our knowledge and what we've learned from our more than 1 year on the road. So if you are an aspiring van lifer, if you're just thinking about van life, we're making this to help you out. Let's get into it. The number one thing, we're just gonna go right in. We're just gonna head right in. We had no idea how to get started with van life. Our first initial plan was to get on the road in my dad's old camper van. As I was searching and researching ways to travel that way, I happened upon van life. And I was like, what is this? This is amazing. So we just dove head into looking up resources. And we knew that we wanted to build out our van, but we just didn't know how the heck to get started. There was so much information. It was like an information overload. And you just feel like, wow, I don't know how I could do this, especially as two people that had never built something, before. So that was really hard. And our tip for you, if you are in the same boat as us, is to just get started. You have to put one foot in and you have to just start getting the ball rolling. The first thing we did is just do a bunch of research, get all of it in your head, and then say, all right, what's the first thing I can do to build a foundation for this project? And the first thing we did was put down the floors. But whatever that is for you, start with thing number one and keep going from there.
Build your confidence slowly and just go for it. You can read all day, but eventually you just have to do it.
Definitely. Our number two is a really big one. We're just getting juicy off the bat. It is cost.
Hitting cost of van life. We thought that living in a van might be cheaper than living in a home, but that's not always the case. If you travel a lot of miles, gas is the number one expense, variable expense for us. But there's a lot of hidden costs like laundromats and then just different gear and stuff that you might want. Maintenance. If you want to stay at campsites, there's campsite fees. All kinds of you can get speeding tickets, parking tickets, all that kind of stuff with your home. We had some van issues where we had to put up in a shop, and so we had to go rent an Airbnb while we also paid the shop to fix the van. So there's a lot of different costs that are hidden that will come up. So make sure you have an emergency fund and just know that whatever your budget is, you can make it work, and there's different options out there for you. And
Reed made a really good point when he said laundry. We did not expect laundry to be as big of a cost as it is.
Yeah, it can cost upwards of $20 to wash all of our stuff and the bedding and everything, which is pretty pricey if you try to do that once a week.
If you can stretch out your clothes for 2 weeks, then that's gonna be really helpful to you. Just find ways to make that work and acknowledge in any budget that you make before you get on the road that there are going to be hidden costs, and it would be really nice to save up some additional money in case those things do come up for you.
Number three,
living in a van with a partner can be difficult. Now I love this guy to death.
We can always, but sometimes it feels like we're always like this.
Honestly, yeah, the thing is that in a 60 square foot house, you are always on top of each other. You are always, kind of elbowing one another and maneuvering around. We talked about it in our last video. When you're sleeping in the bed, one of us has to crawl over the other to get out of bed. That's something that we have to do every morning. And so those kind of things are ways that we're always kind of up in each other's grill and in each other's space. Now, if you want to watch our 5 things we hate about our van build, the link will be above somewhere and it'll be in our description. But yeah, that's something that's real. So we always had to find ways to manage that and make sure that we are feeling comfortable and that we get our alone time so that we can come back together feeling refreshed and feel like you do get a little space away from each other. One of
those simple ways is I go out and walk Bella in the morning, and that's kind of my alone time, start my day. without thinking about where we're driving, where we're going, and what Denise is doing.
You also have to learn to compromise if you have a partner in a van. Maybe one of you wants to travel to the East Coast and one of you wants to travel west. And you have to find a way to compromise and figure out what kind of schedule you're going to be on, because this is your vehicle and this is obviously your vehicle and your home. So you got to figure that out. Number 4, finding fast and reliable Wi-Fi can be hard.
We started utilizing libraries recently. That's been a great option, but things like McDonald's and Starbucks can be very unreliable and very slow when used in conjunction with the VPN, which we always recommend using. And yeah, so it could be very tough. It could take, for instance, like 3 or 4 hours to download a YouTube video at Starbucks versus being at like a regular high-speed home Wi-Fi internet. It could take like 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Number 5. It's definitely one of those things where we have to balance a lot whether we're going to be in the city or whether we're going to go off grid. Because we have to make sure that we, on work days and days that we have to send things out, and, for example, upload our video, that we do that so that we can get off grid without worrying about those kind of things.
Off-grid camping and city camping is always a balancing act. We want to be outdoors as much as possible, but you know, we need things like food and water and to do our laundry and that fast, reliable Wi-Fi that we're talking about. We recommend getting everything done that you possibly could do. Make sure you dump all your wastewater, you get all your food, you top off your water, you do all your chores, send off your emails, send your last text to your mom telling her where you are, which I could do a much better job at doing. And
sorry, Debbie.
yeah, and then you just go off, and that way you don't have to worry day one of being out, oh no, we forgot this, or we forgot that, or we're running low on this, we're running low on that. Take care of your biz before you go off grizz.
That's what he likes to say. That's his motto.
Yeah, that's my motto.
Local governments are restricting van dwelling fast.
We were so excited to go to San Diego, we couldn't wait. We're gonna be surfing, chilling on the beach, until we realized it's technically illegal to be living in your van there. So make sure you're always looking up local city ordinances and state laws wherever you are and try to follow them to the best of your ability.
This also really has to do with typically places that are bless you. Typically places that are go-to destinations are going to have a stricter ordinances.
Highly trafficked areas, tourist areas, places with prime location and weather, there's probably going to be some regulations.
And maybe there's not, you know, there's plenty of places you can find that don't, but just make sure you do your research ahead of time. Number 7, take the seasons seriously. And what we mean by this is when you're building out your van, if you haven't finished building out your van yet, take into account where you're going to be traveling beforehand.
Yeah.
We made sure that we have a window that opens and we have our max air fan, and we use that to ventilate our van. But we don't have an air conditioner. We have to make sure that we are in places that aren't too warm, because we do have a cat and a dog that travel with us.
Yeah, we try to travel seasonally, but sometimes you can't escape the heat or the cold. We spent the winter in Florida and the summer in the Pacific Northwest, but on days when it's too hot for us and the animals, we seek elevation, we try to find shade, and we look for water. Last year during the heat wave, it was like 120 degrees out everywhere, and we'd be on the highway and it'd be hot even with the air conditioning on. But if we pulled off, gained some ground, went into the woods, parked up underneath a tree next to a stream, it was very nice and manageable. So look for elevation, water, and shade.
Those are some of our best memories too.
Yeah.
We're by that creek.
Yeah, nice creek.
Yeah. All right.
Water in the van, down by the river. That's great.
Number 8. We have to empty our wastewater almost every other day.
Yeah, we do this to stay on top of it, because there's nothing worse than driving around with 2 full gray water tanks and a full pee jug. We empty out our wastewater responsibly every other day to stay on top of it so that you can pee freely knowing that your jug is empty.
Yeah, it really is a big thing that we try to responsibly dump our gray water and our wastewater. So we find designated places to do that, and places like porta potties and dump stations. So you have to seek those out and keep that on your mind ahead of time. When we go off the grid, it is a big deal if we have to dump almost every other day or every few days, which you can stretch it if you really take it seriously.
Yeah.
So if we're off the grid, we dump before we get there, and that really helps us make sure that we are in a good place. Alright, we stopped for a minute because we had some
fangirls.
Not really, but there were some 2 girls and they were curious about what we were up to. Number 9, making a routine is harder than we thought. I'm not a very routine person. I've never had a set in stone routine, but some things in a house inherently build a routine, right? Yeah. So in the van though, we don't know where we're gonna be at any given time, so you do have to plan accordingly. Some days are chore days, which, pro tip, we do all our chores in the same day. You okay?
No, thinking about chores,
it's stressing you out.
Passed out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but what is this point about though?
Oh, the point is that managing a routine is important, and chores have to do with that. My point in saying all of that is that basically making a routine just doesn't come as easy. So what we do instead is we start the week planning out what our week's gonna look like. Yeah. What days are we gonna need Wi-Fi? What days are we gonna do chores? What days are we gonna be driving? Where are we gonna be? All of that. Yeah. And so if you know that ahead of time, you can then plan the rest of your week accordingly without as much stress.
And we never actually stick to our plan, but it's nice to think that we have one.
Very true. He's not wrong. Number 10.
Number 10.
Finding spots to sleep is easier than we thought.
Yeah, this was actually my biggest fear coming to van life. And living in the van, I was very scared of where we were going to sleep and just feeling safe around that and comfortable around that. And that was a huge priority to me. I think at first week on the road, I told Denise, I have to know where we're going to sleep the morning of. I can't go through my days enjoying my day and not knowing where we're going to sleep. But I quickly became accustomed to the lifestyle, and it's not as hard to find a spot as you would think. There are apps out there like iOverlander and freecampsites.net that we utilize, and I recommend you utilize them too to help give you some clarity. But there is a plethora of spots outside of those apps that you can find on your own. I recommend using Google Maps to look up the size of parking lots and to look up different turnouts on forest roads and whatnot. But there are so many spots to sleep, and just the main thing is just find somewhere that feels safe and comfortable for you, because compounding drive days on bad sleep days, oh no, you don't want to do that. You'll be burnt out real quick. So prioritize your sleep and your safety.
Definitely. Great point. Alright, we're not done here yet.
What? We got more?
Point number 11. You alright? Alright.
I'm just really excited for this point.
Well, here we go. Point number 11. Hashtag van life is not real.
What?
It's not reality is what I should say. Living in a van comes with far more nuances than what you're gonna see on social media. That's just the fact of the matter. You are gonna find days where you're sleeping in amazing places, but you're also gonna find days when you're sleeping in Cracker Barrels, you're gonna be sleeping in Walmart parking lots, you're gonna be sleeping potentially on the side of the road, maybe not, so don't be stressed, don't be worried, but all I'm trying to say is that remember that you're going to romanticize this lifestyle. It's almost inherent to seeing it online, and that's okay. Just also acknowledge that don't stress if you see people online doing these amazing things all the time and you start comparing yourself and thinking you're not doing it right. You are doing just fine. You are doing amazing. Do your thing, find people that connect with that, and you're gonna be great. And just know that this is how you make it. 12. Drive days compound.
Drive days will compound on you quickly. So we try to break up our drive days into bite-sized pieces, because driving can be very exhausting, and no matter if you're driving or in the passenger seat, you're inevitably sitting down stationary and stagnant. So we recommend stretching as much as you possibly can, breaking it up into small bite-sized pieces so that you don't get too burnt out. And when you can, go off grid for a week and enjoy that and just hang out and not worry about moving the van, because I'm trying to figure out where you can sleep every single night on top of driving every day, and when you're already tired, it all compounds. So limit the amount of decisions that you have to make in a day, And you know, if you have to rent a place or go back home for a week or 2 or a month or wherever that is,
then do it.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, take some time off the road, rest. I think a lot of people think because they bought a van that they have to live in it 24/7 and 365 for 10 years, and it's like just live your life however it feels safe and comfortable to you, and you know, prioritize yourself.
Our point number 13, kind of our bonus point, is that we didn't realize how much we were going to love it.
Yeah, it's been really great. I have no complaints.
Yeah, this honestly has taught us so much about ourselves. It's taught us how to go with the flow, and we've learned to, we've grown and changed so much since getting on the road. And honestly, I couldn't imagine not doing it at this point. It's something that we want you to know, that I know a lot of our points might have sounded a little scary.
We're just trying to give you tips and tools to work with.
And know that it all is worth it.
Yeah.
And if you need someone to reach out to and you need to talk to someone about it, you can always reach out to us, because we are here to help.
Yeah, and you know, if you want to get on the road, make it happen. Don't let your fear stop you.
Hi, van lifers.
This is my best friend Devin. He's making a little debut.
He's coming to hang out with us and tell us what he thinks about having 2 friends that live in a van.
He also is a traveler himself. He lived in Lebanon for 2 years.
This is just gonna be in the bloopers.
We just have one last point. In conclusion, we gave you 13 tips and 13 things that we didn't expect when getting into the lifestyle, but we could have easily written 30 things or more, because there are so many things that happened and that came up that we couldn't have expected, but we learned how to roll with it and keep going, you know?
Yeah. A good attitude, can do it attitude, just roll with it and everything will be all right.
Yeah. And I want you to know that we are here if you want to find some people that are on the road that you want to connect with, and something's come up and you're a little confused or you need help and you need connection. There are so many amazing people in this community to connect with, and we are 2 of them.
Yeah. Make sure, if you like this video, subscribe below.
And remember,
creating the life of your dreams isn't always easy,
but it's so worth it, we promise.
Goodbye.